Okay, now we're live. I guess I will kick it off. Hello, everyone. Today is I honestly don't remember what day it is, but I know it is a Monday, and this is our new contributor workshop development meeting. Like all Kubernetes meetings, we abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, which essentially boils down to please be excellent to each other. With that, we can kick it off. I dropped a link to the meeting notes in chat, although it's looking pretty light on the agenda, mostly just like I think the general recurring meetings. Do we have any new one on the line? Anyone that would potentially like to introduce themselves? No worries if not.
I don't know if I ever actually introduced myself to this crew. So hello, everyone. I'm Kaslin. I'm a developer advocate at Google, and I'm part of the SIG Contribx contributor marketing team.
Nice. Okay. I guess that takes, well, thank you, Kaslin. And that takes us to our first agenda item, which is outreach. And that was the conversation we started to have right before the call. I think it was more recruiting but the long and short of it is an email was sent out to KDEV asking for people to volunteer. I think one or two people might have chimed in on issues. But there hasn't been much traction beyond that. And I'm just poking Josh now.
Can we do a quick roll call on the phone of I'm just curious who's doing what and when and why?
On who signed up for sessions?
Yeah, Mars, what are you signed up for?
I'm just here to learn and maybe teach. I don't know. I'm doing meetups in Dallas.
Oh,
so
cool.
So I want to teach folks, hey, here's how you can contribute to Kubernetes if you like it and if you want it. Like, hey, follow this process, follow this documentation. Here's the guide, here's the links. Ask questions here or there. So that's what I'm curious about. Yeah.
I know Kaslin and I are going to do some sessions. Is anybody else planning on doing sessions? Steven, what about you? Or Hippie, are any of y'all planning on, like, you already signed up for sessions on the GitHub issues?
I'm going to be supporting Gwen on the local build and test segments.
Nice.
She sends her regards today, as she had other meetings to attend. But
nice.
Helping to turn that flow into org files and the markdown documentation that will eventually be our first kind of step at combining the presentation and the docs and the flow. So just choosing a very small segment for those local test and build segments. She said she owes us a separation of local build and test segments and may have some time tomorrow to work on that. And so I will help craft that into docs. That's what I'm trying to contribute.
So it looks like, let me share my screen too, because that's just,
look,
I know, yeah, Bob, toss me the football. In the meantime, I'm seeing, sweet, thanks Bob. I'm seeing, looks like 4 issues for local build and test. It looks like 1, 2, 3, and 4 so that means that's you and Gwen, Hippie?
I believe so.
Okay. I'll show you. It's right here. You see, does it say Kubernetes community on it? Do you see the repo?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. No, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like, like a data center somewhere. Anyway, So yeah, it looks like this one is the one I'm talking about, and then there's 2, 3, 4. If you could, Hippie, like you and Gwyn, do us a favor and assign yourselves to these issues, because if we're going to do what we need to do right now is enter into a recruitment phase. So that will just help us with some of the project management aspects. And it looks like, for instance, the Kubernetes architecture overview is taken by, I think that's Max. It looks like the contribute to docs section is taken by Savitha. Looks like the your first issue is probably taken by Pensu. So that's how they're assigning stuff. So if you're on the line right now and you're like, oh, I want to like help with something, claim one of these issues.
I had not signed up for anything yet just because I wasn't sure what my time would be like, but now that I have a better idea of that, I should be able to sign up for at least something on there.
All right. I think you should sign up for troubleshooting test failures, Bob.
I don't know about that one.
All right, so here's what we need right now. If anybody's willing to do this extra legwork right now we need to start recruiting. So recruitment, get everybody to get their recruitment hats out. And so for instance, we definitely are gonna need somebody to do a Kubernetes walkthrough. And the good news for the Kubernetes walkthrough, and I'll actually add it to the issue too, is that we've had people do this before, so you can just watch the old stuff and just pretty much replicate what they've done, but just in a more modern way. And I say modern meaning like, because we've changed our processes 45 times since last week. So, you know, just making sure things are updated. So, let's talk, if you all are cool with it, let's talk about some people that we could outreach to that you think we could recruit and get that going. What do you think, Bob?
Jason said that he could volunteer for at least one of them. I think he's been a little bit busy with his new job at Packet, but he said he'd be happy to do at least one section.
All right, so let's do
Hi, friends.
Hey, Gwen.
Sorry, I am meeting jumping, and Hippie told me there was a bit of confusion with the content organizing. So I could provide some clarity, maybe.
We're about to hit the recruitment cycle for like actually like proactively recruiting people to do some of these sessions. And I was just wondering if you and Hippie were doing local build 1 through 4, because I was just going to assign them to y'all.
No, I don't remember signing up for that. I don't think I'm a good person to work on that since I've never really presented it.
Okay. So what's the one that you and Hippie are going to work on? Or none of these, and we should set a new issue.
So what came up in the last meeting is that I have a lot of content for the contributor workshop written up, and it could stand to, like, I was just going to create provide a little bit more background for all the content. So create more like what to do, when is this done, kind of content in the issues themselves, rather than maybe I'm not saying this well. So after the last workshop, I created a folder in K Community that has like some suggestions and highlights for I think it's in events.
I think it got moved under mentoring, I believe, because
mentoring.
The new contributor workshop has been moved under the mentoring subproject.
Thanks. Yeah. So, nope. It's in programs, I believe. Resources. There we are. So this has a bunch of content for the individual parts in it. and suggestions. And I thought it might be a good idea to move that to the issues that you showed on your previous screen share, to give the presenters a head start.
So just adding to the resources pretty much?
Pretty much, yeah. Okay. I wasn't saying that I was going to create the local build and test content. Okay. I don't know what the scope of that is at this point.
Okay. I mean,
I thought this would just help create some of that scope.
Okay, yeah, no, and I was going to say that's what I think we need to figure out is what the scope of these things are.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize that it got broken down into 4 sections.
Yes, yeah. So just like kind of some of the content cleanup. What do we expect this to look like? Cleanup, rather than like, I'm sorry, I know that I'm lacking a bit of context here. So that's what I can do.
And that means we're going to still need to recruit people for some level of local build and test.
For creating the actual like recordings or materials.
Yep.
I think there was some discussion around it last time, just to add more context for why it's split up like that. I think they decided it was split up like that because in the workshop they had separate sections because that section took so long for people to go through. So that's why there are 4 pieces, just because of the schedule of when it was in person.
It's broken up by slide numbers as well. But that's not, yep, Josh, sorry.
There was a reason to keep it as 4 in the video version, which is basically we are talking about an hour and a half or so of content. And that's easier for people to handle if it's in several segments. Also, chances are the first segment will be extremely basic to the point where somebody who has worked on other Go applications won't care about it and they'll want to start with segment 2.
Yeah. So you can pick and choose sort of what's most appropriate to your level of familiarity.
Yeah, that sounds right. And I am very happy to take the overview. So I can't words today. Sorry, everyone. To take the big picture overview and break it up and add some more context to what we expect those segments to look like. And I think that will make it much easier to find someone to volunteer to create it.
And then Josh, where are you with this recording guide?
You can see that there's a linked document where we started a draft, but it hasn't gotten very far.
Yeah. Honestly, things kind of got put on pause right around KubeCon.
I think it's one of the.
Oh, yeah, actually, where that stopped and where I actually need to merge it in was, I asked for permission to use the text of the CNCF's recording guide to copy and paste stuff out of it, the recording guide they distributed for KubeCon. And they gave that permission, but it took a couple of weeks to get it. And then at that point, I got distracted by KubeCon itself. So I still need to actually copy and paste from there.
All right. I feel like this seems pretty dependent on us recruiting too, because if we're recruiting people, they're going to ask how to do this. All right. All right. What do you all want to use this session for? This next 10 minutes? You want to talk about? You want to dig into some of these recording guide things? Do you want to dig into recruitment strategies? What do you want to talk about? Fun group. Everybody looks like they have end of the day itis right now. They're like, I know.
Yeah,
Happy
I literally got,
Monday.
yep. I got home and then it was like, oh crap, there's a meeting.
So it sounds like there's just a lot of actual work that needs to be done at this point.
Yeah.
Like with Gwen's revisions, with setting up guides for the video recording, and then ultimately recruiting actual people to do this stuff. So the good news is I promise that when you identify people to do it, that most of them will tell you yes. So that's the good news. I think though now it's getting over the hurdle of getting them prepped to say yes.
Making it as easy as possible.
Yeah. And then Bob, if you could give Allison some of those names, like maybe we can like start some kind of list of like almost like a speakers bureau of list of people that said that they would do whatever. Because I feel like that's the problem with open source is everybody just jumps in and they're like, just tell me what to do. And you're like, here's things. So yeah, if you have like a list, like Jason, for instance, give that to Allison, and then we could just have Allison just start assigning people stuff on GitHub.
Yeah, I got people I can poke to see if they're okay with that.
I have people to poke as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know so many people that have told me even personally, like, just tell me what you need to do. Just tell me what you need me to do. So
yeah,
at this point, that's what we need to do. We just need to start poking people.
That's why I wanted to scope those local build-in tests once better, just so we know what that looks like.
Yeah. All right. And I feel like for like the release cycle, it would be cool to like, have somebody on the release team that's currently doing it. That could probably even be a
Taylor,
thing.
as a former release lead.
It's almost like you should build that into the release role, because it's like review the new contributor workshop release cycle video, and if it's outdated, you have to do another one. So yeah, I feel like, so we have release team and stuff. I don't have anything else. I didn't intend to leave this meeting.
It's so good to see you, Paris. I have Mimi in my office, and he's super shy and not, but he misses you.
I miss him too. I miss all of you very much.
Yeah. Well, thank you for leading this meeting, because I'm immediately after this meeting, I'm recording my talk for OSICon. So I have to admit, I'm not really thinking about the new contributor workshop right now.
Well, that's and like it's stressful times. I don't like this.
Yeah.
This is the part of the glue work that gets deprioritized a lot, and that's both fortunate that we have that capability, but obviously not fortunate because it's stuff that we really want to do. So I feel like don't stress. The stuff is still here forever, and it will be here. This work will be here tomorrow. And I guess for everybody on the call, the best thing you can do at this point is ask very pointed questions to people, meaning like, hey, could you do the Kubernetes walkthrough? Very pointed kind of questions, because that will help people tremendously. So everybody's on outreach duty, except for Gwen, who's on documentation duty.
Are we doing for local build and test? Are we doing I'm coming from Mac, I'm coming from Windows, I'm coming from Linux, or do we? And that's when I guess when we get there, I don't mind picking up and helping whoever steps into that. I don't for that set of 4. So it doesn't need to be you, but I'd love to connect that work together. And I guess the pointed questions there are for our audience. Where's their start point? Where's their end point?
Yeah.
For,
Maybe there needs to be a local build and test
videos.
like focus group.
choose your own adventure. So the developer guide actually recently got updated with up-to-date and good instructions for all three platforms. So we might be able to turf some of that to, like consult the developer guide for your specific workflow. Because once you get, Golang and some of the requirements installed, then it becomes fairly consistent. I think the outlier is some other wonkiness that happens on Windows. But that might be an opportunity for like SIG Windows, or not SIG Windows, the Windows Cloud Provider group to like do something specific to that.
Or the new contributor who's running into it.
I'm so interested in holding, like, I just kind of want to wing it. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, that's, how I roll. Like, I roll by winging shit most of the time. And, like, I kind of just want to wing it one night and be like, yo, we're having an install party virtually. And, like, come hang out with us. And the whole goal is for you to build Kubernetes from source. And here's this document, and it's like a clinic because like we're all here and we're just like kind of doing office hours, but you're just doing the step by step and then like asking questions as you progress along. And so it's like unstructured and kind of chaotic, but like that's kind of the deal. I don't know.
That's an awesome idea. This is something like what, sorry, I totally interrupted you, by the way.
No, please. Like, I'm just on a rant, so go.
On the how many people actually develop local build and test versus renting a machine for the day?
Yeah, I don't know. That's another.
My team is spread out and have different resources locally for them. And in our case, we either spin up stuff on Packet or on Amazon in order to have a machine large enough for each of them to do that development, and kind of roll that in.
Yeah, I know, like we're the remote like Docker build type thing where you could have a remote Docker host, that like support for that is being removed for building Kubernetes. I think the assumption is that if you don't have a machine to install it on, you're going to have a box that you can SSH to, or remote control in some way, shape, or form to build it on. So I don't know, like I don't know if we need to set up specific instructions for that.
What if
I like the idea. I'm sorry. I just think the idea is really cool. Like at KubeCon, we had the pair programming event.
Yeah.
And this would be like that.
Yep. I've been trying to emulate that virtually. I mean, Hippie is like the king for the software end, but I think that yeah, I don't know. Like if y'all are down with it, I say like we should pick a date in some random end of the month, September, and like tell the community the only thing we're going to do during this 2-hour period is like 8 of us are just going to hang out and troubleshoot your problems as you try to build and test Kubernetes. And then like we use Slack like as a way to like field their questions and like do it just like office hours style, and that is just that's gonna test the documentation. It's going to and then not only that, but then we're gonna tell people to like PR in, like make a first PR to that documentation to make it better. I think it's a little bit more of a wild ride and like not something that we wanted to do in person, because like everybody in person, including me, was like, let's not do that. But I feel like now that we're like entering this whole virtual game where we've been here, it might just have to be a little bit more chaotic, and we just have to accept that.
And we can like clear out a day and like book time for it.
Yeah, I'm down. If y'all are down, I think we should try it. Takers?
No.
I mean,
Yeah, it's like once.
you could even like Hippie could even like start sending out URLs for like pair programming sessions.
Yeah.
You know
What
what I
I
mean?
would
Like, oh, let me like hold up, let me help you out. You know what I mean?
what I
So
would probably do is at
Where-
least hold off on that until the slides and all that stuff is done, or at least close to done, just so we um,
Um,
have something else to give them as an artifact to use beyond like it's
so
installed.
part of my desire to be involved with those 4 parts of local build and test is to create that onboarding platform where we have the pairing to help people go from that step, and it just kind of matches into the way that we flow at II. And so I'm not stepping in to say I can do all of those direct, but I will definitely provide heavy support to somebody in for those 4 pieces. And if we can get to that point, like I say, by end of September, then we can have a pair party where we can use those organized ways of creating documentation to be that flow for a remote pair thing. And some of my teams on Windows, some of my teams on Mac, or I've actually picked up a Mac just to be there, and obviously Linux, so we can. Should map back to people's local boxes pretty straightforwardly.
well, I'll take an action to coordinate the whatever party it is for potentially the end of the month. So that means we have 30 days to get our act together. And in that 30 days, we should have Gwen's documentation in for the stuff. We should have everybody recruited for sessions. We should have probably half of the sessions recorded. If not, have slides. And then I feel like we'll be on time. Is everybody cool with that? It's like we got a 30-day window right now. And then I'll pick some random time. Maybe we'll even do 2 times to be super like time zone friendly or whatever. 2 time zone friendly times, and just roll with some kind of chaotic build. Maybe that's what we can even call it, the chaos build. All right, that's it for me. I gotta jump. I'm on to the next thing. I'm on to the next thing.
See you soon, friends.
Yep. Sometime next year.
Day.
Yeah, sometime next year.
Yep. I'll call it there.
Guys, I know you were done. I'm so sorry. I
Oh.
had my hand raised for a while, but I'm just gonna.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Don't be sorry. I don't have a video on because I'm like a human burrito. It's 7:30 here. I'm on my bed in cozy. I'm just attending the meeting to see the favorite people of mine. This is so amazing. All right, I'm not gonna diverge. So I really like the idea of having the party to build. The first time I built locally, my Mac crashed because the number of files that it could open simultaneously, it was way too less, and I need to set the limits and whatnot. So it would definitely help folks. And I also have one other thing, if it would help. So if whoever signs up for the contributor workshop, we could send materials or tell them that this is a pre-work that you need to do. If your system is this, just follow these steps and try. If you cannot get it installed, we would help, of course, but if you can, so these are the steps that you could try. So many KubeCon tutorials this time had those things, like these are the pre-work that might help them so that they are not like lost during the sessions. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out, and I'm so happy to see everyone. And I want to just turn my video on. It's okay. What's the worst could happen? Oh. Yeah. So those are the 2 things that I had.
I think Paris actually dropped because she had I think she had another back-to-back meeting. But yeah, like I'm certainly down for it. and whatever happens, we'll definitely know if our documentation is good or not.
I agree.
Yep.
Worst case, we re-record something for the actual new contributor workshop piece, but it's not a bad idea to have the session either way.
I've never been to office hours. How many people do join those office hours? And
So for our main Kubernetes office hours, where we answer end user questions, we will usually, it's a panel of 4 people, well, 4 to like 6 people, and then we get usually around like 350 unique hits during the 1 hour session. That's people joining into the YouTube stream. This would probably be a little bit different. Like it might be join the Zoom link and then join a breakout room or something like that.
Okay. Yes, because if there are 300 people, I'm not sure we could handle.
Yeah.
Or help them.
I don't think there'll be 300 people in one session that'll hop into get their local environment set up. I don't think it'll be that bad. Meet Our Contributors, I think, tops out, which is sort of a similar thing that's focused towards contributors. I think tops out around like 100 and 150 like unique views during the hour period.
Okay.
And then the new contributor workshops that we've done in person usually wind up with around 70 people.
Okay. Yes, but I guess that's physical new contributor workshop. Physical.
Yep.
Yeah. In OpenStack Upstream Institute, where I took some volunteering, we usually have about 50 and 50 people, but we have at least 20 mentors, so we have quite a good ratio of instructors per student. That helps a lot.
Yeah, there's a couple other things we can do to try and like help with any sort of scalability issues, like use a running document for questions. So that way, if someone is having a problem, they can like Control F in that like HackMD document or something like that to find if they're having something similar. Okay. With that, is there anything else anyone wants to talk about, or should we call it there?
I've got some stuff that I'm doing for setting up the pairing infrastructure. We're using Packet and the Kubernetes cluster API to bring that up. And part of what we're trying to do when we deploy that is modify the API server arguments to reference the audit, to create an audit sync. And I've got an open pair session that if anyone either wants to lend a hand just to see how we do pairing or knows of a human who could be particularly helpful. At the moment with API server cranked up to verbosity 99, all it says at the very end is it tries to load the audit sync config, and the audit sync itself is a Kubernetes config, a kube config. And it seems like there may be a bug when it does the processing because it says error initializing audit webhook. No configuration has been provided because an audit sync is just a really minimal kube config with a URL. Please go dump your JSON here.
I don't know anyone directly, at least off the top of my head. I'd have to poke, see who I know that knows the audit stuff well. Outside of like Jordan, because he knows everything well.
Yeah, that's fair. It may be reaching out to Jordan. Ping would be good. It's so deep within the bowels of Kubernetes with how it's processing command line arguments at the API server level. When it just quits with an error exit code and with verbosity turned all up, I get nothing. I'm out of my depth, so I'm just gonna raise my hand.
I actually have a couple of questions about how you're using Packet, but like I don't want to take that time if other people actually do want to discuss other mentoring related things or new contributor workshop related things. Okay, I think we're good on new contributor workshop stuff. So,
Bob, I'm willing to hang around for a moment if that's
yeah.
if you want to stop the recording or leave it running. I'm fine either way.
Yeah. I will kill the recording for now. So with that, thanks all for showing up. Appreciate it. And